Once upon a time, two brothers, John and Paul, used to live in an orphanage home in a small town. Sitting on a school bench and started to think of their parents, wondering about the reasons for leaving them at the shelter. The nanny who works in the orphanage home was passing by and noticed the depressed faces of these kids. She came over and inquired about the bad, sad situation. She came over and inquired about the sad situation. They said, "Hello, Nani. The reason for our sorrow is everyone in our orphanage home doesn't have any idea about their parents, but we knew that our parents committed suicide, but we want to understand the reason for that." The Nani said, "Your parents were rich in the past, but lost their wealth and became poor and had no money for food and died. So the Christian charity got you both to the church, and I have been taking care of you both since you were infants." And she left. Both of them started to think of their parents' past and were disappointed and started to think of making money and don't want to die poor. One day they decided to go to the different corners of the country, see the world and earn money and come back after 10 years and meet at the same spot. Time passes by and the day of their meeting has finally arrived and the anticipation was mounting. Paul arrived first and waited for his brother and noticed one tall, handsome guy walking towards him and had analogous features to his brother and asking Paul. With an abundance of joy, John said, "Yes, I am." After talking for a long time, Paul says, I'm in an unfortunate situation. He became a thief and police are behind him asking for help. John offers him shelter and assures him that he is safe in his place. Paul feels relieved and agreed to go with him. After reaching the house, Paul was astounded and asked what he did for a living all these years. John smiles and says he is heading to work and suggests taking a rest and talking tomorrow. Paul takes a shower and eats a nice dinner and lies on his bed and get lost in his thoughts about his brother's successful life. The next day morning, out of curiosity, Paul asked his brother about the secret of his wealth and a request to lend money. John in turn says, "Sure, I'll give you money, but tell me why the people are searching for you." Paul replies, "After going to the West, I had a happy life, job, living, but I used to spend all of my money enjoying life to its fullest. Over time, I realized all of my friends became rich and got married and settled in life, but I'm still at the same corner of the street. I slowly started to feel lonely, addicted to drugs, etc. One day, I decided to rob a bank, but before I took the money, the police were after me, and now I am hiding from society." John was devastated by listening to his brother and felt sorry. He wanted to help, but not by giving money. Instead, he wanted to change his mindset. John offered money as well as offered him business partnership, and but with one condition, says he will reveal the context the next day. So the next morning, John came up with two small tamarind plants and asked his brother to plant them in the garden and also instructed him to eat tamarind plants leaves every day until he finishes all the leaves and says, "After you finish first two plant leaves, then I'll give you as much money as you wanted." Paul feels so happy and leaves for the day, start plucking leaves daily to eat. He finishes all the leaves of the first plant within a short period of time. By the time another tree has grown, almost double the size, but he thinks that he can finish the second one as well and starts eating the second plant leaves. After a few days passed by and notices that the plant leaves are kept growing, he feels so disappointed. The next day, he goes to his brother's house and asks for more time, and John agrees, and Paul starts eating more leaves every day, but the plant becomes a giant tree. The brother asks Paul he is doing all. After a few days, Paul replies, "Brother, I can't finish these leaves because one side I'm eating, on the other side it is growing, and I want to leave this challenge and go away. He starts to go, but after a few steps, he turns back and asks the reason behind making him eat tamarind leaves. John replies, I wanted to teach you how to manage money to become rich in long run. He further explained, I told you to eat the plant leaves and you finish the first plant in days because it has fewer leaves. So when you have a little amount of savings, if you start spending, you will end up with no money. But if you wait for some time and pour that water into the plant and become a tree, that means saving the money. And after that, even if spending money, your accumulated wealth is going to generate additional income if you put them into investments. Paul realizes the problem with his behavior towards money and offers thanks for his brother, promises to return and meet at the same days again after 10 years. Finally, a few years later, Paul became rich and got married. He returned back to meet his brother. Both sit on the same school bench, and Paul asked his brother, I still don't understand what do you do for living? John revealed that he was a police officer and he was the one that searched for the bank robbery suspect and says, after I came to know that you were the suspect, I did not want to put you in jail. I resigned from my job and led happy life with the money that I saved over the years. Paul hugs his brother and surrenders himself to the police and asks his brother to join the job again. Paul comes out after his jail sentence and starts living a happy life with his family. Thank you for reading.